So I've got a quick question. Do any of you remember the 11-inch MacBook Air from 2010? This was the ultimate base model MacBook Air, starting at $999 in the price at that time. Yet now we have gone from nice, light MacBooks to bigger than before 15-inch models. So join me as we look at the quite short history of the small MacBook Air. So in 2010, the 13-inch MacBook Air had been updated, and we saw the release of a new 11-inch MacBook Air, which retained the same design and internals, but was smaller, lighter, and cheaper, essentially replacing the polycarbonate MacBook that had came out 4 years prior, as it had a lower entry price. Now, both of these MacBooks were really impressive on the spec sheet, with the internals all being upgraded, being given a better display than even the 15-inch MacBook Pro at the time, and having amazing battery life for the size that they were. Plus, just like the iPad at that time, they had the flash storage integrated directly into the logic board, which saved crucial space. Plus, the prices were pretty low for a MacBook, having a base price of just $999 for the 64GB MacBook Air 11-inch, and a base price of $1,299 for the 128GB MacBook Air 13-inch. They both sold quite well, but the 11-inch MacBook Air had a particularly short lifespan, spanning from 2010, its release year, only to 2015, when it was replaced by the 12-inch Retina display MacBook. Now, it wasn't a bad laptop. I really liked the design, but it had a lot of issues, such as the butterfly keyboard, the one USB-C port, the horribly underpowered Intel Core M, and a starting price of $12.99 USD, which is more than the 11-inch MacBook Air. Now thankfully, Apple actually listened to complaints this time, and the 12-inch MacBook would be no more in 2017, just 2 years after its release year. And just 1 year later, we would get its replacement, the 2018 all-new MacBook Air, with its stunning Retina display and all-new redesign, albeit with 2 USB-C ports only. But it wasn't really that bad of a device. It fixed a lot of the 12-inch MacBook's problems, and it ushered in the new era of the MacBook Air. Plus, this design would later be used for the 2020 MacBook Air with M1, which is one of the best value laptops basically in the world. But we haven't gotten a smaller MacBook Air for so many years. Since 2018, they haven't made any mention of perhaps a smaller MacBook Air, and at WWDC 23, they even unveiled a bigger 15-inch MacBook Air, which, I don't have any problems with. I like the laptop, it's what I use for school and editing, and it does the job perfectly fine. But there are just a few moments where I wish I had a small, light laptop that I could just use to type documents. Not even the 13-inch MacBook Air is really good for that anymore. With the new flat design, it feels a lot bigger, even though it actually isn't. Maybe the smaller MacBook now takes the form of the iPad Pro with the keyboard thing. And that'd be fine, maybe if they gave the Pros an option to have macOS on the iPad Pro. Maybe at an optional $500 would still be worth it, because there are fundamental issues with iPadOS and the iPad hardware that they just won't fix, because they still need people to buy 13-inch MacBooks. Yet I so want an M4 iPad Pro with the thinnest ever design, because I sometimes just need to type a document, which I don't need a big 15-inch MacBook for. But then there's the issue of money. The new iPad Pro costs so much more than a MacBook that sometimes I'm just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to use my 2014 11-inch MacBook Air because it types documents. That's all I need it to do in a lot of use cases. Actually, around 60% of my use cases. But sometimes, in the other maybe 5%, when I genuinely need all the power and all of the AI stuff and all of the massive gains in modern computing, I look at that price. I look at the sizes of the new laptops, and I just wish there was a new 11-inch MacBook Air. And maybe there will be, with rumors of a MacBook SE coming up in the future for a pretty low price. My wishes may come true, but I can't predict the future. I don't know what's going to happen, so we'll just have to wait and see. But it might not happen. While Apple has been reducing the sizes and the thickness of basically all their products, like the iMac, the iPad Pro, and even the MacBooks, the dream of an extremely lightweight computer, just like maybe the 12-inch Retina MacBook, may never come true. We'll just have to wait and see. Goodbye.